6月15日，莫卡托基金会举办了主题为“德语诗：国内生产总值的增长能带来幸福吗？”论经济繁荣与幸福之间的关系的沙龙活动。本次沙龙分别从中欧这两种不同的视角来诠释人类发展中的患得患失，同时也抛出了令人反思的疑问：无论是在欧洲还是在中国，国民生产总值是衡量一切的标准吗？我们应该用什么样的标准来衡量政治、社会和经济行为的成功与否呢？究竟哪种经济发展模式适合于保障相关人群可持续的生活品质和生活幸福感？而当今我们可以期待的中国梦又是什么
？This is now, if I have counted correctly, the 12th salon we have, and we always try to identify topics and issues that are of interest to both societies. And clearly the correlation between the economic success of a society and the well-being and the happiness of individuals is something which is a relevant topic here, as we understand it, but is also hotly debated in Europe and elsewhere. So we think this is good to identify these topics where we can exchange our understandings and might learn from each other.
绝大多数中国人不知道怎样去回答“您幸福吗”这样的一个问题，因为中国人对幸福这个问题的认识，对幸福这个概念的理解，也许是和欧洲人、美国人都不一样。
There's an interesting research done by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, on what is important for happiness of people, which elements are the most important ones. And the result might be a little surprising. It is very clear in this statistic that family and health are the most important elements of happiness. And what is surprising for me, money only counts for 7%. And religion for even less.
一旦一个国家人均 GDP 超过了$5000这个水平以后，那么财富收入和他的快乐可能就没有一个直接的关系。GDP 是相对容易衡量的一种制度，而同时目前在中国，特别是在那个各个地方官员的选拔机制上 ，GDP 被作为一个最重要的一个考核的指标，所以就是从经济方面和政治方面两方面来看 ，GDP 可能是最容易、最便于比较这样的一个指标，而其他的一些指标研究起来更复杂，同时在政治操作上也更为困难。
I would argue that even with the more cost-based analysis, GDP has an extreme weakness in that it does not take into account costs, right? It's a cost-benefit analysis that only looks at the benefit. It would not be possible to run a private company and to account for the finances of a private company in the way we account for our economies, because every private company has to present a profit and loss statement. At the end of the year, you have to look at, what was the profit and what was the loss. And the GDP only takes into account the profit and has no way to include the losses in terms of, even monetary losses in terms of depletion of natural resources that you could easily put a price tag at. So I think even if you confine the discussion to what you can measure, one has to say that this is an extreme weakness of the GDP concept, because it gives us an impression that we're winning and winning and winning, where we have been losing, in fact, but we haven't measured what we've lost on the way. Is the cockpit of a Boeing 737 airliner. And that's the whole dashboard of indicators you need only to fly one airplane. And the pilots who sit there, they need to be able to relate these to each other, and they need to have an understanding of the priorities, which are the most important ones, and which are the less, and which are the ones that are very important to keep me safe. And probably, I mean, that's the altitude. You need air under your wings, otherwise you can't fly at all. And with this extreme fixation on GDP growth, it's as if you would put tape on all the other ones, and you just look at the speed. You just look at your velocity. And then you find, wow, if I put down the nose of the plane, it gets even quicker, and I can be even faster, but you ignore that the altitude is going down like this. So I think what you need to manage the economy is it's a dashboard of different indicators, and it's not possible to focus just on one. It's also not possible to build all these aspects just into one. But that is what is required for sound economic planning. This doesn't speak about that. That is his matrix for dealing with development for poor people. And it doesn't talk about money in the first place. It talks about needs. That's the most important thing. Subsistence, protection, affection, understanding, and so on. And then about different things, how these needs can be met. And that can be through economic money means. It can be through entirely different means, which I think is also why indicators like people living for under $1 a day, I mean, obviously that's not a good situation for anyone, but especially in situations of poverty, to measure the money flow only, I think does not reflect neither what is the problem nor what is required.
First, most happiest country in the world is a country which is very seldom in the media, and very few people go there. It's Costa Rica.
And it's the only country in the world, or one of the only ones, that doesn't have an own military.
Second one, and this might be even more surprising for people here, is Vietnam. And if you look on these countries which we represent here, you will find Germany is only on the 46th place. China has the 6th place, and the most surprising thing might be that the United States of America are under 140 countries on the 105th place. Before we go into details, I would like, what do you think about these kind of indices?
那我记得那个18世纪的英国哲学家 Jeremy Bentham 他有一个观点，他说那个真系和那个和诗同样重要。也就是说，这个快乐，有些人觉得读诗是一种很高的快乐，有些人觉得就是很低级的这种游戏也是快乐。但这个边沁他认为这两种快乐没有差别，都是快乐。那同样，近2年有一个非常著名的一个哈佛的一个哲学家叫 Michael Sandel， 他做了一个同样的一个调查，他对他的学生问他们这样的问题：说，你觉得现在给你2种选择，第一种选择呢是你那个读莎士比亚的著作，第二种选择呢是你看一个非常低级的一个动画片叫《辛普森一家》，就是你觉得在这个2种选择里面，哪一种让你更快乐？那当然，绝大多数人都选择肯定是看那个《辛普森一家》更快乐。他甚至他继续追问，你觉得这2件事情，你觉得哪一件事情更有意义？仍然有相当比例的学生认为看《辛普森一家》是一件非常有意义的那个事情。所以呢，这里面我觉得这个情况确实就变得复杂。
继续谈清楚